name is Diana Chaloux LaCerte. I live in Kansas City, Missouri now, but I grew up in a very small town in northeastern Vermont, and I was an athlete. I was an active kid, but painfully shy. I was the level of shyness when I was a kid that if I was called on in a class, like I would have a panic attack. My heart would just start racing. I wouldn't even know what to say, and it wasn't that I didn't know the answers to things. It was just like the thought of being in front of people, speaking in front of people was really terrifying to me. I found the gym, my kind of love affair with fitness started at a very young age. When I was 14 and I got into high school, I had a friend who was on the football team, and he said, "Hey, do you want to start getting up in the mornings and coming and working out, because the football team works out at 6 o'clock in the morning before school started." And I was like, well, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And I found a strength and confidence in the gym at that very young age that started to really help pull me out of my shell and help me with a lot of things on that side, as far as just not being so terrified of being in public and speaking in public, and that shyness that I had. Honestly, I had no idea what I was doing at 14 years old. I didn't have a coach, I didn't have a trainer. I would go in and I knew how to do the leg press, and so I would just leg press, and I would do the ab machine, and I did leg extensions, and I had no idea what muscles I was working or anything like that, but I knew that I felt strong, and so it was something that I just continued with. So if you fast forward a few years, I went through college. I kind of had a very much a party phase through college. It was kind of a freedom thing for me, because I had a very kind of sheltered earlier life, and so went a little wild, not gonna lie. And I actually I gained some weight in college. I probably gained about, they say the freshman 15, I probably gained the freshman 30 or 40. It was as I started getting older, and then through college and then after college, that I realized I didn't have a clue. I was one of those people, I guess, that I thought I had the 8-minute abs video, and I would do that every day, and I couldn't figure out, well, I'm doing this 8-minute abs every day, why don't I have abs? And I had no clue about how to properly train, about nutrition, about anything like that. And as I was getting older and into my 20s, I think I found it frustrating that I didn't know what to do to make my body do what I wanted it to do. In 2002, I moved to Park City, Utah with a bunch of college friends, and I remember right after college, I was actually in Manchester, New Hampshire. I was working out at a gym there, and I had an office job. I was working as an executive administrative assistant, and I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable. I hated the 9 to 5. I hated being in office every day, and I was like, what am I gonna do with my life? What can I do? Where would I be if I could just be in a place where I woke up excited to go there every day, and just happy and passionate about what I was doing for the day? And I had this moment. I was on an elliptical machine at this gym in Manchester, New Hampshire, and all of a sudden it dawned on me that this was the place that I enjoyed coming. It was the gym. That was my happy place. So I actually started that day. I went up to the trainers that were at the gym, and I was like, how do I become a personal trainer? How do I get this job? How do I make this a career? And they kind of gave me some tips and some advice, and some places that I could look into as far as getting a trainer certification. So I moved to Park City, Utah. It was going to be the 2002 Olympics, so I actually moved there with a bunch of friends so that we could work through the Olympics. And it was there that I got my very first trainer certification, and I got my first job at a gym, and I was so excited. And initially I was training a couple of people, and I had I was a manager for the front desk there, so I was extremely excited about that. And then I got a job for Norwegian Cruise Lines as a fitness director. So this is where things kind of took a turn for me, and this was my dream job, because I got to travel and do fitness at the same time. So I went on the cruise ship. This was 2004, and if anybody's ever been on a cruise, there's a lot of food on cruise ships. And what happened was, as much as I loved being on the ship and kind of that life, it was exciting, but it was also very lonely. And what I found myself doing was starting to really turn to food for emotional support. I didn't feel like I had some friends, but it was like people come and go on cruise ships a lot. So I found that I started binge eating. I started overeating at night when I had my own little cabin. So it was all hidden behavior. It was all, you know, it wasn't something that I did in front of people, and I started gaining weight. And I'm the fitness director, so I'm teaching classes like all day, every day, and I'm gaining weight and gaining weight and gaining weight. And my excuse was, oh, I'm getting older, I'm, you know, like 26 years old, and I'm just becoming this voluptuous woman, and there's nothing I can do about it because I'm just getting older. But I knew that it was because of what I was doing in my cabin at night. And it was, it got to a point where it was kind of out of control, and it was like, got to the point where it's like I would just always be thinking about what I was going to eat when I got back to my cabin at night. And I was on the ship for a year, and when I got off the ship, I saw my little sister for the first time, and she hadn't seen me for a year, and her jaw dropped when she saw me because I had gained, there was one day on the ship where I stepped on the scale and it went up to 175, and I jumped off quickly. I just was shocked. Like, I had never been that weight in my life. The heaviest I had ever been up to that point was probably like about 150, and I'm 5'7", so a good place for me was always more 135, 140-ish. So I was scared that, you know, I had let myself get to that point, and then the look on my sister's face when she saw me, I think that scared me even more, because I was like, oh my gosh, what have I done to myself? And it was, I guess I got off that ship, and I was disgusted with myself. I was at a place where I was not happy with, I remember looking at myself in the mirror and just calling myself names. I would just look at myself and I would be like, you're disgusting, why are you doing this? And I had these dreams and aspirations of being a fitness competitor, and I had these pictures of these beautiful, you know, fit women like plastered all over my room. And then I would just get so mad at myself that every single day I was still making these choices that was just, I was never going to get there, because I still really didn't have any knowledge as far as my nutrition went. But I would starve myself all day thinking that's what it took. I would starve and starve and starve, and then I'd get to the point where I was so hungry that I would just binge eat. And I would binge eat in the night when no one was watching, and I would literally just stuff myself until I couldn't stuff myself anymore. And I knew that that had to stop. And the scary thing to me was that I felt like I couldn't control it. I felt like I was a prisoner to that. And it scared me, because as that scale was going up and up, I was like, what am I, like, this is just gonna continue. So after I got off the cruise ship, I moved to Texas, and I got a job at a gym there. And there was this moment, and it was July 5th, 2005, I'll never forget the day. And I had talked to all these people about, yeah, someday I'm gonna do a figure competition. They didn't have fitness model and that kind of thing at that point in time. And a friend came up to me and was like, he was like, Diana, you keep talking about this. And he said, what are you waiting for? And it was one of those aha moments for me that I realized I didn't have an answer for that question. I didn't have an excuse anymore. And I was so sick and tired of feeling like I was a prisoner to that behavior. And it was literally that day, July 5th, 2005, that I changed everything. And it only took an instant. It didn't take me, you know, thinking about it anymore. It was literally that day. I signed up for my first show that day. I started trying to figure out, I changed my eating habits that day. I actually hired one of the trainers that I worked with at that gym to just help me and work with me and take me through workouts a couple times a week, just to help keep me accountable. I signed up for a show that was 18 weeks later, and I dialed in my nutrition and I started doing it. And yes, I lost weight. I lost about 40 pounds during that 18-week period of time. I mean, I didn't cheat. I was so focused on that goal. But the most exciting thing for me through that whole process was, it was freedom. For me, it was the freedom of overcoming that behavior that I thought controlled me. And when I had something that was a powerful enough motivator that I was able to stop that behavior, it felt like a huge relief, and it felt like freedom to me. And so there was no turning back for me at that point. And it's been, we're 10 years later, and I've never gone back to that girl. I see pictures of myself from them, and I remember that girl, and I remember how she felt. And I never, ever, ever want to be that girl again. And I mean, the one thing I can say is God is a huge part of my life, and I give all credit to Him for giving me the strength and the focus to be able to make those changes and make the things happen, those dreams and goals that I know He planted in my heart. He is the one who gave me the strength to overcome, and it's been an incredible journey, and I can't wait to see what else He has in store. My name is Diana Chaloux LaCerte, and I am possible.